All right. Hey, we're a couple minutes late, but that's okay. We're having some technical end, and we can't figure it out if it's on my end or Danny's, but it doesn't matter because we're going to have fun anyway, because that's what we're talking about today, how to have fun with sales. So I'm super pumped to have my good friend and fellow Promo Kitchen chef, Danny Rosin with Brand Fuel on today to talk about using fun to sell more. So, hey, Danny, can you even hear me right now?
Not really. But you know what? It just doesn't matter. I think it just doesn't matter. It just does. I can hear you enough to get by. I hope everybody can hear both of us. Right. We'll make the best of it, man. I think this whole thing's about having fun. So let's do that.
Yeah, it is. But hey, if somebody is watching, can you let us know if you can hear both of our voices and can see both of us? Because it's a little nutty on our end, right? Hey, Jeremy Picker's here. Hey, Jeremy, how's it going? All right. So anyway, so today we're talking about sales, and I wanted to have you talk about humor in sales. And is this the secret code that people need to sell more? What's your answer for that, Danny?
Well, first we gotta share the screen and can you do that? Pop that up if you would. Yep, there you go. Yep. So I want to say thanks for having me, Marshall. You have me on this thing because I won some contest or something, helping you with the naming of this great podcast live stream, and you ended up going with Forward Progress. I just want to share some of the versions, the other options I had: Person of Interest, The Inevitable Hell Yes, Stealing Thunder, Gestures of Momentum, which I think is my favorite, and then the Creative Assembly Line. You nixed all of those. You went with Forward Progress. I think it's good. It's safe. But chapter 2, I hope we go with the Gestures of Momentum.
I like the Gestures of Momentum, but Forward Progress just reworded one of my core values, so I had to pick it. It was just like it felt like home. So.
Yeah, no, that's good, man. It's nice to feel like a winner and connect with you in that way, and then have the great pleasure of being on this with you. So I think you asked a question about humor in sales. Is this a secret code? The top secret double probation code, I guess, to selling more, I guess, is what you're asking. I would say probably not as a standalone, not a standalone key sales attribute. Maybe though, to create deeper connections, assuming you find somebody who appreciates your humor. And I think that's, I was just thinking about Robert Fiveash, my business partner at Brand Fuel. He really balances me. He's always reminding me that potty humor, while it's funny, is not good for our company's branding. And so I actually pull this image up here. This is the slip grip. This is a good indication of something I came up with that got a little pushback. The slip grip, those things that you put on the back of your phone like this. It says, perfect for the beach, the bathroom, or bar, because drunk people drop shit. And I think, there's some humor in that, right? And I think if we turn off a small percentage of our clients, I guess that's okay. I think we're probably really ecstatic when we connect with clients who get us and our personable, fun, and maybe slightly twisted approach. And I think from a sales perspective, I think those salespeople who are really creative, have developed interpersonal skills, which definitely includes a sense of humor, and a good understanding of their clients, their needs and their challenges. I think they're going to have way more job security in this, digital Amazon AI world we're all living in. So that's my answer.
Well, it's a great answer, and drunk people do drop shit. So I think it's one of these things where this would appeal to people that has that sense of humor. But if you're more of a you can't say that guy, you probably won't be buying that thing. So
that's right. Yeah, and I think some small percentage of our sales team, they were a little turned off by this. I think they got warmed up to it. Eventually, we did half with drunk people drop shit, and the other half with drunk people drop stuff. and you got to choose. So we gave options. And I think it was less about our salespeople and more about understanding the audience, and that some
Right.
of their customers wouldn't appreciate that, but they really like the product idea. So we figured out a balance.
Right, right. That's good. That's good. And so, just speaking of humor, I know that one of the things, one of the real reasons why I wanted to have you on the show, first off, was to thank you for coming up with such a cool name. But the other thing was the fact that I know that you use humor a lot, and you use that to engender yourself with your customers or potential customers, because let's face it, human to human marketing, it works better than being, a brand robot corporate guy, because as people, we want to find affinity with other people that are like us. And I think humor allows people to do that, because, if we like the same movies, or Weird Al Yankovic, or, some funny thing that's happening, it's just, I think it appeals to people where we're kind of the same, and I see you as another person, and you're not just trying to sell me a bunch of stuff, right? Yep. And I'm a big believer in that, and I think you guys do that so great, because I've been, follow what you guys do all the time, and you use humor a lot in everything you do, the meetings you have with your employees, the stuff that you're posting on social media. It always looks fun. It always looks just like, gosh, I wish I was there, right?
That's nice. We appreciate that. I think Brand Fuel is all of those things. I think we early on thought, are we sort of BSing a little bit on social media, and are we really this company that's this much fun? And we have fun, and I feel like people want to buy from people who do great work, but they're also enjoyable to do work with. And we talk a lot about, beer worthy customers or beer worthy employees. Would you actually go and grab a beer with someone you're going to hire if you didn't work with them? Or would you grab a beer with a customer if they didn't buy from you? They wouldn't be a customer, but those are beer worthy type of folks. And I think those are good defining principles and characteristics when you want to go and find your people, and that creates connection and longer connections at that. As long as, I hate to use the word, as long as all that stuff's authentic.
Right. And and the other thing is, you just got to be yourself. Right. So you can't be anybody but yourself. So if you try to imitate somebody's style or whatever, I think it comes across as weird. Right. You just have to go with whatever you do and how you sound and the words and choices that you have. Just be yourself, I think, is really kind of the key thing, just to come across as authentic.
Yeah. We like to say, be you, let the world adjust.
Right. Right. Cool. And here's a good example. Is one of the guys watching is my friend Peter Walsh, who is one of the executives with M&R, which, if you don't probably know, Danny, they make the screen printing machines that all the t-shirt guys use. And he's from Australia and has a really different type of sense of humor and way of looking at things. And I always like hanging out with Peter, because he's got that different, just very dry humor, and he'll just kill you with some offhand phrase that he just does, so almost like John Cleese, just real dry, and it just floors me every time just talking to that guy. So and he is an example of just him being himself, right? So all right, so one of the things I prepared here was I wanted you to talk about your swag vending machine. Did you put that in your slides?
Yeah, I did. As a matter of fact, let's see if I can get over here.
So
yeah.
So talk about what you guys did with this. And I think this is one of the most brilliant things ever. I loved it when you came out with it. And I think it's just awesome. So tell everybody what this is and how it works.
Yeah, I think, it was developed. It was sort of a reaction to what was happening in 2008, 2009. We were trying to reinvent ourselves a little bit. We thought about let's not just sell product. Let's think about the delivery of product and help our clients with that, with some creativity. So we created a division called Brand Fuel Experiences, and it's called the world's only swag lottery machine. And if you you look up swag lottery, you'll hopefully find that first in Google search. But we took the word swag, stuff we all get, and we created a new acronym, which stands for serendipitous, wondrous, audacious giveaways. And so we built this box about the size of an old school phone booth. And you can see in the picture here, there's an area where you put a ticket in. So at this conference we were at, everybody got a swag lottery ticket. They put their name, their email address. They checked a box to see if they were interested in buying promotional products so we could harass them later. They put it in that slot. They pull down the handle, so a step-by-step process. And then you can see where all the lights are blinking at the top. And then inside, noises come out of this box, cow horns and xylophones and things that would startle folks. And then 2 arms come out of the bottom of the box. And what we gave out was were random. Again, it's a lottery, so we gave out random albums. And on the albums, there were these digital download cards that looked like mini albums that we had done at Media Tree. And so you had a activation code that took you to a website where you watched a little video about Brand Fuel and then answered a couple questions to see if we could actually sell them something. And then they were able to select on, live music, or not live music, but music downloads or something that was interesting to them. And there was a social media play there. So there was this combination of what we call physical and digital marketing, and we call it phygital marketing. So you're at an event with actual real people, and there's physical promotional products and albums, and we're spinning them. Here's a picture over here of a couple folks. You can see the turntable being spun. I just got a couple albums out of the box. And then you've got the online side, the digital, and the social media. I like this one because in the picture is Ann Handley, who happens to be, she's the content director and an amazing marketer for Marketing Profs. The guy to the right is Scott Monty, who happened to be at the time Ford Motor Company's social media VP. And he says in his tweet, it was the best conference swag ever. From the swag lottery machine, you can see him spinning the thing there. And then the idea here, we created a travel version of this thing that we could sell to customers, easy to ship. But the idea was drive event traffic, be memorable, create buzz, generate leads through data capture on the ticket, and then at the point of reward online, and then, have fun. We want to outbrand everybody at this marketing conference, and we want to be associated with the funning, being the funnest. And I have a few others I can show too if you want, Marshall, but that's the idea.
And what's funny is that Scott Monty looks just like Boots Randolph. If you look at his photo.
Yeah, he really does. We'll have to let him know. I sent him a note before this. It just reminded me I was going to use him in this.
Yeah.
You want me to show you a couple quick other experiences, the fun that we've kind of created around promotional products?
Of course, let's go.
All right. So we had this idea around kidulting. And it's this idea that there's a kid inside every adult trying to get out. This was the reverse of that. It's called the test of bravery, where instead of something coming out of the box, you put your arm into this wall, this test of bravery. You had 3 holes: the brave, the braver, and the braviest, depending on how brave you felt. And on the other side, we had our team, doing things like putting slap bracelets on them, temporary tattoos. We had little shots of ranch soda dressing that they would have to shoot to get promotional products. For trusting us. And the idea around bravery was, do you trust brands today? And that we were trying to convince potential customers that were there at this trade show that Brand Fuel was a fun company, but we wanted you to trust us that we weren't going to do something horrible to your hand when you stuck it in this hole. And it was incredibly memorable. And I sort of look at this and I think, just look at the raw emotion. Even Bill Petrie's in the picture. He was at that event. People are talking about the fun of that day still. And I wonder, do you think any of these people are having reactions like this after getting a digital ad? I don't know about you, Marshall, but I'm an ad blocker. I avoid ads, but I love, love, love great giveaways. So that one was pretty fun. This one was where we had one of our employees, we created a white elephant costume, actually sewed it here in-house. and we had her go to our customers and deliver a white elephant experience around the holidays. The team to the left is a group of clients that took a picture and sent it to us and posted on social. And then, you never know what Brandfield has up their trunk or sleeve from another customer. And just one recommendation here: don't wear an white elephant costume to a bank. Not a good idea. Your customers won't appreciate it. Paint for Swag is just an engagement, community painting engagement. You get branded aprons and painting supplies, and certainly you get little painted things as developed by prompts that we give them around a theme to paint as a team. Our output there was not very good, but that's a fun one. We've all seen the screen printing on site, kind of your world, Marshall, but we call this make and bake. And anybody who smokes pot probably gets that. Those who don't, we call it make and create or make and take. And for those who wonder the double meaning, you kind of bake a shirt when it runs through the oven. You're heating it or curing the ink onto the shirt, as you very well know. So a play on words, and certainly we're having a good time here. This last one is called the kindness container, where we put people in a cash booth. You grab as much cash as you can in like 30 seconds, and then the money has to be spent paying it forward in some way. And you, in order to do that, you get this mini kindness container that you can see Mary's got here to the right, that she takes with her, that's got some inspirational quotes inside it, and it's a little jar that you can use to drink beer out of or whatever, but it's also a coin jar to save money to pay it forward. And we heard all these great stories of people taking the money and giving it to people on the streets, or paying for someone's Starbucks in line, a stranger, and doing things like that. But so in kind of closing with the experiences, Royce Spence, who was this amazing marketing guy who was a PPAI speaker, he said, we're having a fun crisis in business. We need to lighten up. And in lightening up and finding the joy in what we do, we can attract our kind of buyers and employees. And I think that's what this is all about.
Yeah, I love it. I love it. So I'm going to flip back to just me and you. And I've got my question here is really about listeners, right? So if you're watching this right now, Danny, why don't you kind of help some folks out? So how can someone add more fun to what they're doing in their sales or marketing? Because maybe they're not a creative genius like you guys are. They're just some corporate guy. So they hire you, or what can they do to like really kind of rethink what they're doing? Because, every single post, every single trade show booth, it's always constantly, always the same year after year after year after year, to the point where it's just, let's just line up and take a nap. It's so boring, right? So like, how do we even start the path of thinking about doing something different? What should we be doing?
Yeah, so I heard most of that. You're breaking up a little bit, but I think you're asking, how do we add fun to our sales, especially during a time like this when it's kind of difficult. Those experiences I showed, obviously they're not happening right now during the age of COVID and a pandemic. So I think we've had to really rethink that as a company, and we're trying to sort of interpret that, and we're creating what I will call experiences in a package. And we're using direct mail like a lot of companies are in our space now. We have this great medium to reach out to folks. And so how can you create a real experience in a package? And Robert and Olivia on our team, they just had a client, Ferguson Enterprises, that did this thing called Bourbon with Bradshaw. So they got a famous person in Terry Bradshaw, who just released this new bourbon. And the bourbon went out. We managed the shipment of the bourbon. But also with the bourbon, in the kits, what's really interesting to me is all the other stuff they put in there. It was a branded rocks glasses. It was we had a branded mailer box. We had some really cool laser etched whiskey stones, and then the ice molds that you would use, and I think a cocktail kit. So there was a lot of really, really cool stuff in this kit. And then all of Ferguson's customers came together with Terry Bradshaw on the other line in this virtual experience. They had their bourbon and everybody sipped and drank and talked to Terry Bradshaw about all of his Super Bowl wins and his TV flubs and all of that. So I think there's an opportunity there to create some fun through experiences, even if they are digital. I also think emails to clients need to include some fun. Just skip the jargon and the buzzwords and pepper your emails with, thoughtfulness and education and personalize, the emails, which I think could include humor. What else? I think laughter is the best medicine, and during trying times like this, people really appreciate it, need it. It's connective tissue. And I think in closing, my last comment would be, being fun is not about trying to sell more stuff. Being fun is about engaging with people. It's about connecting them to you personally, ultimately to the broader brand. People buy, like you said, human to human, Marshall, from people that they know, like, and trust, but enjoy, I think, too. It helps build community. And, all of that helps them give you a little bit more attention. And eventually they do business with you, I think, if all of that is real. So that's it.
Right. That's good. So some people are saying hello. Cora says hello from Wisconsin. Jay's here, says Ann still has that Donnie Marie album in her tiny house, just so you know. And Jay loves it. There's a fun crisis in business today. Jeremy says, accept Numa, whatever that means. And then Brian says, is there too much fun in your opinion? I hear that it isn't professional with some of my ideas. So how can we go from being fun and using humor to, hey, that's just wrong for this application? How do you know when to use it?
I mean, it's so hard to hear you, Marshall.
Sorry, we're having connection with people. So read
I see Brian's post.
Read the question.
So is there too much fun in your opinion? I hear that isn't professional with some of my ideas. Yeah, no doubt. I mean, Brian, tread lightly first. I think you've got to sort of, test the waters a little bit with your customers. I think some of it means, email can be really misinterpreted. I think we all know that. We've all had an issue there. My wife and I have it almost every day. But I think pick up the phone, have a conversation with them. I think getting to know them on social, especially on the LinkedIn platform, which is professional first, but if you can make your way and make that bond through the more engaging things like it's more revealing about someone personally, even if you you sleuth their profiles on Facebook and Instagram and Twitter and see what they're talking about and how they're talking. I think you might find some alignment and connection. So tread lightly and never talk about politics or religion or anything like that. That's just going to be a death sentence for you.
Right. Yes. Never. And then lastly, tips on relaxing and coming up with better ideas. So where did all your ideas come from? What you sit around and just brainstorm? How do you come up with this stuff?
Yeah, good question. I think we should all be thinking about, when do you come up with your very best ideas? Like, when is it that if you notice a theme, it's like what I always say, like Robert Hunter and Jerry Garcia, the Grateful Dead, there's this quote, sometimes you get shown the light in the strangest of places if you look at it right. I feel like sort of when you're getting rid of heavy workloads and the stress and getting your to-do list minimized, you sort of free your mind a bit and you start to open up to, being shown the light. I feel like this happens for a lot of people when they're in the shower or when they're in a deep sleep with a Atkinson consulting printed journal by their bed with a branded, light up pen that they can write their notes down. I know a lot of people get some of their ideas from the car or listening to cerebral music, like maybe classical music sort of opens horizons. Listen to Iron Band, David Schultz's band. That'll give you some ideas, might make you turn it off really quickly. I know it sounded like Jeremy was was watching this thing. I know from what I've heard from him, he rabbit holes on Pinterest, and you can just sort of go down that path of getting creative and finding some ideas. And other people drink coffee or adult beverages. I'm sure there are people with a joint poking out of their masks, that catch a buzz that way. That's my second and last pot reference for the day. But I think the key here, Marshall, is, creating headspace for the times when you're at your peak creatively. And so personally for me, I love brainstorming sessions with, creative people. I love just, virtual or in person. I live for that, and I'm probably most in my head and not distracted while I'm mountain biking. So I will find a way to bring something along. If it's my phone, I'll take notes and those sorts of things. How about you, Marshall? Where's the place where you get the headspace and the big ideas?
Well, I spend a lot of time observing, and I have a journal that I write stuff down in. And a lot of the stuff that I've been doing over the years is actually comes from two books, and I have them right here. One is called Whack on the Side of the Head by Roger Van Oak, and it's awesome. And so I use a lot of the exercises in here. And the other one is called Thinker Toys by Michael Machalko. And both of these books are awesome about brainstorming and coming up with stuff and seeing things through a different perspective. And I think it's really important that sometimes we have to look at things that aren't the same way. Just we approach it, and we can sneak up on ideas just by being contrarian, just by saying, hey, if a plumber looked at this idea, what would they think? Or how would you do it if you were on the moon? Just thinking about these weird things sometimes lead you down that path by doing something differently than you normally would have. So those are two great books.
Love that, man. That's great.
Yep.
Put those in the notes. Those are good recommendations for sure.
Right. And all right, so we have some questions. Danny says, how do you know what happens to me in my shower? Right. And then seriously,
oh man,
ideas do come to me in the shower now that you mention it. All right. So, hey, thanks, Dan. We appreciate you sharing. I think of a lot
and I've thought about that for those suppliers out there. If you ask my wife about our shared shower, it's all steamed up or whatever. Typically we're not together, but she sees like where I've handwritten notes in there in the steam glass area. I think there's probably an opportunity for a supplier to bring. I'm sure there's something in the marketplace that could be branded in the shower. You can write notes that doesn't get wet and ruined.
Yeah, well, a lot of times, a lot of my ideas happen when I'm thinking of something else. And this is why early in the morning, when you're laying in bed and you got to get up, the alarm's going to go off in 5 minutes, you'll think of something, or in the shower or driving your car or that. And it's because you're not thinking of it is when that idea is going to strike. And let me tell you, you absolutely need a piece of paper and a pen somewhere where you can write that down, because when you get to where you're going, you're not going to remember what it was. So it's really important you write it down.
Yeah.
And I love your shower idea. Hey, Jeremy's got one question, and then we'll let you go. So how do you prospect?
Oh, how do I prospect? Well, so there's a lot of different ways I do it. First of all, I always think about client penetration, so are we working with the marketing director, and can we somehow get into HR? Can we somehow get into sales by way of an introduction? So I always look at low hanging fruit where we have an existing relationship, we understand the brand, and we can create some continuity for all of those decision makers. The next thing is probably peer to peer. I look at folks who are potential customers that are already connections that I have on LinkedIn. It's a great place, obviously, to go. Robert and I are going through a strategy right now to develop more business because there's some shrinkage in our industry that we all know about. But when I do that, I'm always looking for headline news. So what's going on in their business, their industry, and I'm always walking into a prospecting opportunity with an answer to what I think may be their challenge. So I might ask an open-ended question like, are you having a hard time keeping your at-home, work from home staff engaged? and productive right now, because if you are, we've got some ideas to recognize them and thank them, and educate them along the way. So I think being, offering a solution, obviously solution-based selling, where there's a current connection or a second connection where I can get an introduction through a peer on LinkedIn is probably the best thing that's working for us. Thanks, Jeremy.
So do you try and think of one particular idea solution and then try to sell it to multiple clients?
Yeah, so we are really well versed in the technology space and in healthcare and a couple other verticals, so we speak that language fairly well. And so as long as we're not breaking any NDAs with our existing customers, we may approach customer. Let's say, we present something to a customer that doesn't like the idea. We may take that idea and try and rinse and repeat it. It's a valuable idea, we think, with another customer in that space to see if they'd be interested in working with us. So we'll tease them a little bit until we can get a little bit of time on their schedule, 10, 15 minutes, just to ask them open-ended questions. And then we'll say, hey, are you open to us presenting an idea to you to help you with your challenge? And then we also do, the suppliers are just amazing in our industry. They'll work with us on doing some spec samples, and we'll drop ship some products with design on there to let them know we mean business. And it's kind of hard for them to say no when you're being strategic, thoughtful, and giving them something. So a lot of times they feel guilted into giving us a chance. Our goal is to be nimble number two and then earn a spot over time to be number one.
But you're proving your value the whole way.
Yeah. I mean, the last thing you want to do is just say, what are you buying? And I can get a cheaper price for you. Not a single person in our company approaches prospecting that way.
Good. All right. So that's going to wrap it up. I want to share Danny's website, which is brandfuel.com. So if you want to learn more about Brand Fuel, this is where you can go. And Danny, you mind if I share your email?
Yeah, share my email. Share the screen one more time too in closing. This is one of these quotes I came with, I think is fitting for today.
Let's do it. Hold on.
And my email is dannyr@brandfuel.com. dannyr@brandfuel.com. Yeah, your business needs to be contagious, and to be contagious, you need to be fun.
That's pretty appropriate right now.
I'm glad you picked up on that.
That's great. That's awesome. All right. Well, hey, thank you so much, Danny. I appreciate you. For those of it that regularly hang out here, next week we're going to have Dan Campbell, and we're all going to be talking about computer to screen technology. So if you're interested in that, or you want to learn more about what we're doing with that, the whole show is going to be about improving your screen room. So make sure you come back the same time next week. So, all right. Hey, thanks everyone for joining us. Thank you so much, Danny. Appreciate you.
Thanks, Marshall. Appreciate you, buddy. Promo Kitchen.
That's right. Promokitchen.org. I should have had the thing up there, but if you want to learn more about
shout out, man. That's our connection.
Yeah. All right. Well, cool. Hey, see you guys later. And Danny, don't hang up.
Okay.
That's good.